Bryant, what
What
up?
up, Ryan?
Hey guys, happy Tuesday. How's it going?
Doing
It's
well.
always a good day to be a Tuesday.
Yeah,
I like
busy
this.
week in the summer,
Yeah, no
so
doubt.
no rest for this year.
No rest. All right, Brian. So you're the executive director of the Jito Foundation and former COO of Jito Labs. And the Jito network powers the Solana ecosystem with MEV optimized infrastructure and deep DeFi integrations, delivering unmatched staking efficiency and liquidity. So I think
Fire.
Jito's always been a bit of an enigma to me. Like I've, understood it at the highest level, like, like a liquid staking token, great. But I think Jito, compared to many of the other kind of more pure play liquid staking tokens, has always just obviously had so much more going on under the hood that I've just never had enough time to really dive into. So wondering if you could kind of kick us off there and just share about what Jito is and what's kind of happening under the hood behind the liquid staking token.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Jito's been around on Solana since 2021. Have been building on the chain, since it really took off. And it has a pretty broad suite of products. Like you can kind of think of it as just like core infrastructure for the economic flows of Solana. I think LST, most people kind of know, there's Jito Sol. It's the largest one on Solana, roughly like 3 billion TVL and steadily growing. So, that's, great way to stake your Sol and get some yield, use it in DeFi, whatever. The other stuff is like gets a little more technical in the weeds. And so we'll try and not go there at all today. But like the general context is people are trade a lot on Solana. It's a great chain for doing that. And people that are trading on Solana, if you want to like land fast and get good prices, then you should use Jito for transaction execution. It's just much more reliable. It goes faster. Like we saw this a ton, when meme coins were crazy on Solana over like Q4 of last year, Q1 this year. And everyone that was trying to ape a meme coin, what is it, 10K, and thought it was going to go to, 10 million or whatever, like you want to land like this second. And so Jito was like really, really useful tool for that. And then also like market makers on chain, all of that stuff. And so that's the crux of it. How that is actually implemented is much more complicated. Validators have to like opt in to this slightly different software. We have over 90% of validators on Solana that use this. And so it's pretty much accessible across the entire network. But from like the retail user perspective, and a lot of times this is abstracted away, like if you're using a TG bot or trading on Jupiter or whatever, like it already integrates this functionality behind the scenes. So it's like, it's everywhere on Solana, but like you may not touch it unless you're looking at like the block explorer and then you see like, oh, paid a little Jito tip for that transaction. But yeah, it's a great tool for retail. It's been really powerful to help Solana scale better with just this improved transaction execution. And what Jito announced yesterday, hopefully is a huge level up on top of that.
Yeah, let's go there. You guys announced BAM, the blockchain assembly marketplace that revolutionizes how Solana processes transactions. What are you guys doing there?
Yeah, so this is a very significant upgrade. Like the system was designed, a system that it still runs on Solana today, did over $1 billion in fees in the last like 12 months for people trading on it. It's like very widely used. But it was not best in class anymore. Again, it was 3 years ago. Solana looked very different. Crypto looked very different. And so this is kind of a revolutionary upgrade in how things work on Solana. And the highest level is it has a few benefits, right? It'll be like a new software that validators run, and then it like fundamentally kind of changes how blocks are produced on Solana. But like when you're thinking of like me, I just use Solana to trade random stuff, pay people, whatever. Like how does this impact me? Is a few things. The most immediate is that like your transaction is actually private until it gets executed on chain. And so we saw some issues during the meme coin trading, especially on like low liquidity coins, where there's no transaction privacy on Solana today. And so like there's been an issue with user trades getting sandwiched, which sucks. Like, you're not getting sandwiched if you're trading on Binance, you're not getting sandwiched if you're trading on Hyperliquid. Like we need Solana to be the best place for anyone to get trades done. And so making sure that you can set slippage to whatever and still get your transaction in is really important for people that are using the chain. And so this should eradicate that problem. And then the other major change is about kind of what it enables like DeFi applications on Solana to do. And so it really introduces like a new design space. Like there's a lot of like debate on Twitter about like, oh, well, like Solana, there's no Hyperliquid on Solana. They didn't do their own chain to do like these certain like microstructure features that enable this. And BAM is a way that like applications can do all of this on Solana. And so it's really like the first actually like decentralized broad scale chain that enables applications to like tweak little knobs and enable like market makers to have deeper liquidity on the books without getting punished for that. And a bunch of other really cool stuff. And so we're really excited about it. I think the reception was great yesterday, and started like working with apps to actually like, build out these features. And this isn't like a distant thing. It's, should be rolling out on Solana mainnet within the next few weeks, and should be broadly adopted, completely open sourced, all of that by sometime in the fall. So that, apps can really level up their game. You can get better transaction execution on Solana. And there's a bunch of like different downstream impacts, but those are like really near-term things that we expect to happen.
Got it. So DAOs have kind of fallen a bit out of vogue, but it appears, at least from the outside, that GDOs is pretty alive and well. So I guess I'm both curious what your role as an executive director of the GDO Foundation actually entails, and maybe just for a quick pulse check on kind of your view of how productive DAOs are for an ecosystem like yours. And know with BAM, I think you announced some pretty meaningful value flows from that protocol to the DAO as well. So just curious for a general kind of DAO check-in.
Yeah. So a couple things there. I'll start on the last point, which was, there was a pretty significant change to the GDO DAO and the JTO token yesterday, announced as part of this, that historically, the GDO DAO has earned fee capture for a while. The DAO approved a proposal a week or two ago for a group, like a sub DAO effectively, to start experimenting with token buybacks, value accrual. So right now, all of the fees to the DAO are just sitting in like the DAO piggy bank. And I think we've seen that people want to see like those earnings actually, work for the token. And so starting to do buybacks and distributions, that sort of thing. And so we're really excited about that. And then historically, there's been a split of a subset of the fees that go to the GDO DAO, where some of them go to GDO Labs, which is like the engineering team building this. And that was eliminated. Well, it will have to go to the DAO and be approved, but like GDO Labs made a commitment that they are willing to contribute those fees to the DAO. And so this should be a significant uplift in the amount of fees that go to the DAO, and especially paired with what we see on now, like the fee accrual from this group in the DAO, then that's pretty exciting, I think, to the JTO community. So that's on like the fee stuff that happened yesterday. In terms of like, so there's the GDO Foundation, which I contribute to, as well as the GDO DAO. The GDO DAO is like more high level, right? You're not going to put up like DAO proposals for like day-to-day activities. It's just like, approving kind of fee changes, stuff like that. I think the GDO DAO works pretty well. It's, I think a lot of DAOs are kind of like the culture that you set in the community, and like the level of discourse. Like I think we've all seen like DAOs that get rated for stupid grants, or DAOs that like just have a lot of unproductive kind of like casual involvement. And like it should, given it's making like major strategic decisions on an infrequent basis, it should like more closely resemble kind of like a boardroom, or like, sophisticated discussion around these things. And so I think it has like the level of like discussion. If you look at like the forums, I think it's forum.gdo.network. It's like very thoughtful dialogue. We've had like a lot of very smart investors, like, Multicoin Capital, North Island Ventures, Pantera, like all kind of like giving feedback in that. So I think our DAO is working pretty well. And that's also like partially just like keeping the scope of what it's expected to do narrow. And then the foundation supplements that on a day-to-day basis of like, there's a team of about 10 people contributing to the foundation, doing a lot of kind of business development, marketing, strategic kind of roadmap setting, all of those things. So yeah, I think in general, like really happy with how things have evolved, and really excited about kind of where GDO is going from here.
So you recently tweeted that the majority of crypto unicorns going forward won't write a single smart contract. Crypto startups will resemble Web2 consumer apps, which is news to our ears. Can you expand on what you meant there?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a pet peeve of mine, is like people are trying to raise like $10 million seeds to like write all of this extremely complex smart contract code to like create like fixed rate trading, or like these other like really like, nominally huge TAM markets that like resemble TradFi or whatever. And it's like, dude, like there's no proven demand for this product, and it's going to take you a year to build the engineering. You're going to have to spend all this money like on audits, all of this stuff. And then you look at pump.fun, and like they really didn't need any smart contracts at all. They just had a flashy front end, really good marketing, really good community building, and they've made what, $1 billion in retail fees. And like, you can iterate so much faster in that model, again, because you're not taking custody of like, I mean, Jito, DAO has custody of a lot of money and like has to write smart contracts for that. And like, dude, it fucking sucks. Like, just write a cool front end. You can iterate extremely fast. You like don't have user capital at risk. And we know like users will pay for good consumer experiences that they want. And like the average retailer in crypto doesn't care about your massively complex smart contract. What they care about is something that's fun to use, that they can share with their friends and talk about on Twitter.
So I mean, do you just think that you need a more simple wedge into those opportunities? Like obviously now, Pump is well resourced and could go, write very complex smart contracts if they wanted to go after some new innovative feature. Or do you just think that, the current set of whatever, like the 6 smart contracts that matter on Solana is just, enough for everything crypto should go do in the future?
Yeah, I think we should be growing the number of apps in crypto and the amount of experimentation massively. And the pool of people that are like able to do these like massive lift, like there's a lot out there. Like obviously Jito is like not in the bucket of things I'm talking about, but like, yeah, it should be like your Web2 friends that are really smart about analytics and user engagement and all of that stuff. And like, yeah, they just vibe code a front end that does something cool, ship it. Maybe it gets no traction, but like, again, it was a weekend. Like you have no capital loss because you didn't raise a huge seed round and you're not like 1 year deep into this smart contract idea that the market could shift onto you. And so like, we need to have people that are just shipping really fast, trying these things. And 99% of them will fail, but like 1% of them will be the pump fund style thing. And like, like you see this with like Hyperliquid. It's like people should be building Hyperliquid apps that have builder codes like Phantom did, and experimenting out in like local geographies. Like there's so many more ways to get involved in crypto applications and crypto finance without actually doing the smart contract work. And that we need people that are good at this and want to experiment with it.
If we go back to BAM, are you is sort of part of your thesis that net new types of experiences are going to emerge based on this infrastructure? And if so, what should we be looking for? Are there examples out there right now?
I think there will be net new experiences. I think, like this is something that is very relevant to like institutions about like kind of like execution guarantees. Like they're extremely reluctant to trade on chain now. This could all change. And so like you see like much more significant institutions trading on Solana, stuff like that. Again, it's like probably not like the sexiest thing to like the people listening here, but like it is important to get everyone involved in Solana and not just kind of the more degen crowd. For retail, I think it's more stuff behind the scenes. Again, that like I don't know exactly how they will notice this better besides just like getting their trades in faster, getting better execution, being able to do more things on Solana, and just having more confidence in the platform. But I think that's like, it's really just the tip of the iceberg of the stuff that we talked about. And so I don't think that like how it evolves with this new sandbox is impossible to tell, right? Like predicting any trend and how crypto evolved is hard. I've never been able to do it. Maybe you guys can, but so I think we're excited to see like where people take it.
Awesome, man. Well, appreciate you jumping on with us today and diving into some of the news at Jito. I, like Josh, a big fan since the early days, and you guys just continue to ship a whole ton of stuff. I think we had Vibu on here earlier too, so I know that there's interesting things happening over in the NFT space as well. Probably lots more to get into. Look forward to having you back again in the future to catch us up.
Yeah, for sure. Would love to be back, and thanks for having me on.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Peace, Brian.
See you.